Okay, so hopefully it's about to go live on Facebook and we'll make a start. Okay. Hopefully that's working. You guys can all see my screen, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So yes, welcome everyone. If you're joined and you're either watching on one of our social media platforms, it's nice to have you here. So today we're just going to be talking about studying in London, and luckily we've got some students who have either been through this experience or are currently studying in London. So how this session is going to work, it's going to be a very short presentation from me. I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction about Lille, and then I'm going to go through some of the requirements that you need in order to study in the UK. So some of them are financial and some of them are academic. And then I'm going to break down a few of our partner spotlights. And like I said, we have some students who are studying at some of these universities. I'm going to talk about Greenwich University a little bit, London South Bank University, which is also sometimes referred to as LSBU, and St Mary's University of Twickenham. We have two students and one alum that have studied at this university. And then at the end, if anyone has any questions, you can either put them in the chat, or if you're joining us on Zoom, you can unmute yourself and ask directly to the students who have been through a process that you might be thinking about doing yourselves. Okay, so I will go straight ahead and give you a little bit of introduction about who we are. So we're an educational consultancy. We're based in London. We've also got an office in Agadir, which is where I'm joining you guys from today. And we help students study in the UK, but also for short courses, not necessarily at undergraduate or master's levels. We offer lots of different courses, and sometimes, short trips or internships that we can also offer as well. So if you know anyone that's interested in studying abroad, please do come and see us, and we will, do our best. This session is specifically about London, but of course we have partners all over the UK, and we also have partners across Europe and some in the US and Canada as well. And welcome for those people that are just joining now as well. It will become apparent about what this session is about. All right, great. So again, like I mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit about the application process. So who can apply with us? It's that first question, and you need to meet one of these following criteria. So you either have obtained your baccalaureate, or you're studying for it currently. So you might be in your first or second year, and you're going to either finish this year or you'll finish next summer. If you're at either of those stages, that's great. I mean, you can come to us and we can look at your documents and check through things, and we can begin that process. If you want to study your undergraduate, your equivalent of licence, that is in the UK. However, if you want to study a master's, then you either need to have obtained your licence in Morocco or in your host in your home country. And then, or you can actually be studying for that now, so it could be in your second or third year, you're about to get your undergraduate degree, your BA, and you want to continue your studies to do a master's. And like I mentioned, we have some students that have chosen to do that as well. So if you meet those criteria, you can kind of move on to the next step, and then we need to look at the documents. So these are the transcripts of the grades and the certified translations. So whether that's the diploma or the baccalaureate certificates, we need them with an English translation that's certified. If you haven't finished, then we need proof of enrollment and just your most up-to-date qualifications that you have. Also, we'll need your birth certificate and some photocopies of your passports. Maybe any other visas you've had can often be very useful when applying for the visa stage. If you do have any questions about these sort of process, all of our students that are here today have been through this same process, so they'll be, they're very aware of what it's like. Okay, and then these are some of the requirements to study in the UK. Of course, the first one on there you see is the English language level. So for those of you who are familiar with the European framework, you need to have proof that you have either a B1 or a B2 or a B2, a B1 or above. And in the IELTS, this equates to a band 5.5. Of course, there is certain case-by-case basis that we can kind of have a look at depending on what your English level is. But the best thing to do is to take the IELTS academic for UKVI if you want to study in the UK or in London. This will give you the most options in terms of where to apply. But not all universities do require IELTS. Some can test your language directly. Some of our partners are able to do that. So again, the best thing to do is come and speak to us directly, arrange a free counselling session, and we'll give you some advice around that. Okay, so there's a little bit of information about fees. So the first one there is on the tuition fees. So this is on how much the course costs. So annual fees for undergraduate degrees in the UK start at £9,000. So that's the minimum that universities can charge, and they range upwards from here. And so we've got given a kind of a rough estimation in dirham of how much that is. However, of course, exchange rates are always changing, so it's best to check, regularly and up-to-date information. There's that Awanda.com is the one that the British government used, so that will give you the most up-to-date information. But again, those sort of things come a little bit later. So you don't have to pay everything in one go. You can pay a deposit of 50% until you start the course, and then the other 50% will be due when you begin. So on top of the tuition fees, you've also got to show that you have money to look after yourself while you're there. And this is called the maintenance fees. And it gets a little bit complicated when calculating this, because it depends on where you study, not just what you study. So that's, if you're inside London, because this one's about London, it's slightly higher because living costs, as many of our students will tell you, in London are a little bit higher there. So you have to make sure you have to cover your rent and food and transport. And this is kind of calculated on a monthly basis, so a 9-month academic year, and it's currently at £1,334, which works out about £12,000 that you have to show you have that in your account for 28 days. We say a month to be on the safe side. It's not blocked, but it just can't dip below that level. And this is kind of goes towards the requirements. You just have this paperwork when applying for the visa. So if you are maybe doing a master's and you would like to bring dependents, then there's also another bit of additional paperwork and additional money that you need to show that you can support that dependent, whether that's a child or a spouse or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to very briefly just talk a little bit about some of the benefits, but I think more than anyone, the students who are currently studying, they can tell you about what their experience is and why they made the decision to study in the UK and actually in London as well. So of course, the big one we like to talk about is kind of this value of UK qualifications. Once you have your degree from the UK, it's internationally recognized, so you can take it anywhere and you will be able to be, your qualification and your education will be recognized and you'll be able to be employed internationally. Another one that I always like to mention, as opposed to maybe studying in somewhere like Canada or the US, is the fact that the UK is pretty close to Morocco. If you're coming from Morocco, flights are relatively inexpensive and it's pretty easy, like now, since COVID restrictions have kind of eased a little bit, to travel to and from. So in the holidays, when you've got a bit of time off, you can go and see family, and it doesn't take too much time. You get jet lagged, it's only 1 hour time difference between the two. So it's a pretty easy commute between them. Another one, of course, is the strong economy. The UK, when we did this presentation, it was 5th largest economy in the world. I think France and the UK is often switching for that place. But, it means that there are a variety of highly paid jobs. And that kind of ties into that possibility of settling in the UK after you complete your course. And currently there is like a postgraduate visa that you can apply for upon graduating. And there it gives you the option to stay and work full-time after you graduate, and kind of look for a job that might potentially be able to sponsor you if you're interested in staying a bit longer as well. So another one is the UK being friendly and tolerant. Hopefully the students that have been through the experience or they're currently can attest to that. London is a very diverse place. There's people from all over the world, and I'm sure the students would have interacted with lots of other international students. You're not going to feel like necessarily the odd one out. There's lots of people in the same boat as you when you're there. So it's a good place to meet new people and make really great connections. from people from all over the world. As international students, you are likely entitled to use the NHS. So that's free healthcare at the point of use. So like, God forbid anything were to go wrong, but you would be able to have healthcare if you needed it, if you have any prescriptions or anything like that as well. That's something that you can access. I mean, this depends on certain things, but the NHS is available for international students. Yeah, I think that's everything from there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our partners now. So Greenwich University being one of them. So this is kind of located in southeast London, just south of the river. You can see there's a picture there. It's pretty iconic. There's these buildings and the grounds at Greenwich University are it's open to the public, so you can walk around and lots of people go there. And it's a nice place to chill. It's close to the river. It's got a good atmosphere. There's lots of cultural places. There's museums. And there's the Cutty Sark there as well. Like it's a nice place. Like sometimes I would head down to Greenwich. It's it's a busy part of London. So it's obviously a very old university, established in 1890, and it gives they boast about how much skills they give students. It's for all our partners are very much focused on the experience of the students. A kind of like learner-centered approach, which is maybe a slightly different approach than maybe people have experienced before. Maybe they come from the French system or the Moroccan system, where like there's a lot of students really are helped to succeed as best as possible because they want the students to get the most out of their experience. And yeah, it's like being in somewhere as iconic as Greenwich University and the location is just a great experience. Unfortunately, today we don't have anyone from Greenwich University, but we do have some from our other partners. So hopefully they'll be able to talk about that a little bit. Another one is this LSBU that I mentioned at the beginning, London South Bank. This is kind of, again, located pretty close to the river, just set a little bit back from the river. Kind of southeast London again, but more central. It's their main campus. It's like somewhere between Elephant and Castle and Waterloo. For those of you that know London, for those of you who it doesn't mean much, but it's in a very good location. It's very central, very easy to get to other parts of the city from there. It's well connected. And they have like very good facilities. They offer like a very wide range of courses. They have a big international student body. They've just invested in like a multi-million-pound media facility, which is like state-of-the-art recording studios and stuff like that. So if that's something that you are interested in, this might be a good university for you to choose to apply to as well. And then last but not least, I'm going to talk a little bit about St Mary's University of Twickenham, and we are luckily joined by two students from this university. So they'll be able to tell you much more. And actually, this is the one I probably know the least about, having it being a little bit further in southwest, I believe, in Twickenham. So like it's my picture of it has a kind of big campus and has lots of sports facilities, and it's got some like a mixture of modern buildings and old buildings, and again has quite a big, vibrant student population, and lots of international students as well. But like I said, I think our students themselves will probably be able to answer questions and give you a bit more of a flavour about what it's like to study at St Mary's University of Twickenham. So that kind of brings me to the end of my part. Like I mentioned, it was pretty brief. Hopefully you didn't get too bored of hearing me talk. So now I am going to pass over to you guys that are listening and watching. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the students directly, or you can ask myself if you'd like to. That'd be great. So yeah, these are our offices as well. If anyone wants to come and see us in Morocco, this is in Agadir, and in the UK, this is our offices in London. But yeah, it's open to you guys if you have any questions. And for those of you on Facebook, I will just open it up and check to see if we have any questions there as well. You can put them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. Likewise, if you don't want to unmute yourself, if you want to put it in the chat, I'll very happily read the questions out to the students if you have any in particular. What I might actually get you guys to do as students that are studying in the UK or have studied in the UK is maybe just to unmute yourself one at a time and just introduce yourself, say where you studied and what you studied, and just so yeah. So Jalal, would you mind starting? Is that okay?
Yeah. So I'm Jalal Belkaid. I'm 22 years old. I study a master's degree in international business management course. The master degree, it only takes 1 year, and I'm soon gonna be finishing my course by August, and it was really a nice experience studying in the university. Each semester we study from 3 to 4 modules, and they are really beneficial. Like we really understand what we go through. Like when I study international business management, it's really about business and economy, and I like my course very much. So
Great, thanks very much. That's really great. No, that's great. I guess that's lots of information. That's great. Thank you. Omemba, would you mind introducing yourself as well? If you're happy to. Omemba? No worries if not. Benis, can you? I know. Oh yeah, go for it, Omemba. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I think I have a question about it. So my name is I studied engineering, but now I'm studying in London. For master, and it's a MFP business. I'm in supply chain. It's really beneficial this foundation year, especially because my previous studies were really different from. I studied engineering and now management, so it's different. So I found this year very beneficial, and it's really a good experience to study in London.
Okay, great. Thank you, Emma. I don't know if it was just me, but I did lose you a little bit at the beginning, but at the end I heard you very clearly. So that's great. Benis, are you happy? I know you're on the bus, so you're traveling at the moment. So if you are able to unmute yourself, that's great.
Yeah. I mean, I can do something. Yeah, I can speak.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. So briefly, my name is Benis Mohammed Amin. I'm actually 18 and I'm studying a law course at St. Mary University. It's actually, you already introduced St. Mary University. It's located in southwest of London. It's like just a few blocks away from Kingston University. It's quite famous if you knew it. Yeah, I'm studying a law course. It's actually 5 years, so I'm finishing at 2025. And this is my foundation year. Yeah, and it's pretty cool.
Great, that's perfect. That's ideal. Thank you. Okay, so we have a question in the chat from Ashraf saying, "Hello, I have a bachelor's degree in English studies. Is it possible for me to apply for an MBA?" And the answer is absolutely yes, Ashraf, completely. You've got your diploma in your bachelor's degree, so you can definitely apply for a master's. So come and speak to us. Book a counselling session. It's completely free. And we will, find a university for you. We'll check through your documents. Going to go from there. And then another question from Amal: is there any master related to teaching English option? Yes, so there are options to study, English courses or linguistics and stuff like that. We also, as Lille, we also offer, CELTA courses if you didn't want to do such a long degree course, if you didn't want to do a full master's program, if it was specifically for teaching English as a foreign language, that's also something. Or you can do degrees in English literature or English language, both of them or both combined. That's also an option. So I hope that answers your question. Does anyone have any specific questions for our students, perhaps about their experiences of applying or what made them make their decision to study in the UK? Do feel free to unmute yourself as well. If not, then maybe I'll ask. Jalal, what made you decide to study in the UK?
What made me decide to go to the UK? Firstly, it's about it's not only about studies, but also about independency and new experience and starting to be only by my own, Mm-hmm. And when it comes to studies, I can tell there is a close experience with the teacher. There is a lot of interaction, and the course is very informative, what I can say.
Okay, great. So did you have like you had a good connection, a good rapport with your lecturers and with your teachers?
Yeah, exactly. We can email them anytime if we have any question about a course or anything. It's easier to get in touch with them.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, so we have another question from Amal in the chat. So the question is, what were the problems that you went through in the beginning of applying to the UK or applying to university? Anyone, and Memo, Benis, if you want to take this question as well, or anyone that's happy to answer this question, yeah, just some of the problems that you faced and how you managed to overcome them, maybe.
Well, there isn't. Okay, someone is going ahead, I guess.
You can both answer.
Yeah. I was gonna say about the CAS letter from the university. It takes a lot, and it's so frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah, that process. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, so here at Lille, we're able to try and assist you as much as possible with that process. You know, so once we check through the documents, you know, and we get admission, but then the administration of the CAS, you know, sometimes we really like to be hot on the universities to try and provide them as quickly as possible so we can begin the visa application, because obviously you need that important document to get that. So for those of you who aren't familiar, that's the CAS is administered by the university, and you need that one in order to study in the UK. Jalal, I see you nodding. Is that a similar thing that you're going to say?
Yeah, similar. Just the process is long. They ask many things, tuberculosis tests, and VACAS, yeah.
And maybe actually on that note, maybe a bit of shameless self-promotion, but, you know, how was your experience? Was it very useful to have, you know, someone to be an advocate on your behalf? So someone like Lille to help you, was that a useful?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to hear. That's a good question, though, Amal. Thanks. I don't know, Omema, do you have anything to add? Anything that you found difficult?
Honestly, thanks to you, I didn't find anything difficult. That was really simple. It doesn't take a lot of time for me, so it wasn't so difficult. It was easy for me. I didn't find any real problems during the application.
That's great. Yeah, that's good. I mean, most of the time the admission is pretty quickly, and then the CAS is administered very fast after that. It's only a few exceptional cases where it takes a little bit longer. But, you know, that's absolutely what we're here for, is to advocate on your behalf, to make sure that you know what's going on, and we're chasing the universities, and we're chasing everyone involved to make sure you get your place and you get your visa, and it's a seamless transition. So for you, those of you who are joining now, you know, we are just in this stage where we're talking to international students who have already been to the UK or are currently there, so about their experience. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. So if anyone doesn't have any more questions, I will have a quick check on Facebook to see if anyone's put any questions. No, nothing so far. It's no problem. Perhaps I'll ask another one. What's been the highlight of studying in the UK? What's been some of the best moments you've had so far? Maybe you can go first if I'm not putting you on the spot too much.
It's okay. I think the best thing is that I meet a lot of people from different countries and different cultures, so it was fun, and I made new friends. Also, I really how can I say it? I really learned how to do research. It's because it's like the basic things you need to do is to know how to do research by yourself, and to read more and to discover a lot of new things. So it was really beneficial for me. At this point of research, and also while I made a lot of friends, so it was fun and it was beneficial at both of them.
Great. Yeah. I mean, like kind of London is a great place for meeting people from all over the world, you know, like it's a very, like I mentioned in the very short presentation, it's super diverse. And that's one of the things I love about London, is that, you know, you walk down the street and there's people from everywhere, and you can hear different languages, you can see different cultures, and, you know, people is pretty open in that sense. And absolutely, like, you know, studying and learning those kind of critical skills of research methods, and, you know, like, because that's reading was a big one for me. Like, you know, even though I went through the education system in the UK, I was kind of geared up to go to university. I remember finding it a big shock about the kind of amount of reading, and also sometimes academic readings can be quite dry, you know. It's not like sitting down and reading a novel. It's like you have to kind of learn how to work through them. And I remember my first term, I just was struggling to keep awake. Like even if it was in the middle of the day and I wasn't tired, I would be reading and I'd be like, oof, you know, even if I was interested in the topic, sometimes academics write in a very inaccessible, difficult way. So it takes a long time to build those skills to try and extract the relevant information from the reading. So that's great to hear that you're kind of learning some of those skills. Again, same question. So, you know, your highlights, Jalal, maybe you want to go, like, what was kind of your favorite moment of being there, or, you know, anything?
My favorite moment to be in the UK.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna say the opportunity to have many activities as possible, and there's always more. Like it's endless. It's always a new, like every time you book online an activity to go somewhere, skydiving, ice breaking, or anything, like it's always new experience. There are many things that you can do there that you never found out about in your own hometown, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's really exciting, you know, to always play and do new things.
So did you go skydiving? I heard you mention that. Did you go skydiving?
Yeah.
You did. You went skydiving when you were in the UK. Oh, nice. How was that? That sounds like a great experience. Did you go? Was it through the university, or was it just you just booked it?
No, I just go online and book. And also Winter Wonderland. I heard it's very famous, so I went there too.
Yeah, because that's so.
We'll try next. It's really good. It's really nice.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know what Winter Wonderland is, if you go to London to study in the winter, Winter Wonderland, there's a big park. It's actually the biggest park. It's Hyde Park in Kennington Gardens, very much in the centre of London. They kind of turn one part of it into a big fun fair. So they have roller coasters and rides and food and different activities that you can do. And it's kind of a nice place to kind of go and hang out. And if you're with some friends or meet new people, it's a cool place to be. Lots of tourists and lots of dates, but it's a nice atmosphere for sure. Okay, great. So that's great. And Benis, maybe you want to answer the same question as well, like your highlights or something that you've really enjoyed about being in London.
Well, I'm gonna say, like, from my personal experience, the best thing I've like experienced in London is that, like, I've met new people. I'm gonna say again, like, for me, like, I'm gonna tell you like what happened. Like, I have my friend, like, for now I have like friends from South America, and from friends from Asia, and friends from like Italy, and like that's like I wouldn't get a chance like to have like these type of friends in Morocco. Like, for example, so like London is like so multicultural, like, and like that's like one of the pros from like living in London.
Yeah, totally. I couldn't agree more. Absolutely, and especially in a university context where everyone is kind of in the same experience. They're kind of maybe leaving their home country for the first time, being away from their parents. It kind of really creates a bonding atmosphere, you know, because you're all in that same thing together. So totally, and I think London is definitely like a great place for that. You know, that's one of the highlights, is that you do have people from everywhere, and it's a really fun place to be. Okay, we have another question from Al in chat, so maybe we'll go to there for now. Can someone please explain more about the fees, because I do not get that? Okay, absolutely. I'm happy to go over that again, because of course it's a bit complicated. But I think maybe the best thing to do now is to book a counselling session with us for free. Maybe just either send a message on WhatsApp, they're on our social medias, or just send us a message directly on Facebook. And we'll get back to you to book a counselling session. But I will try my best to maybe make some things a little bit clearer around the fees. So it really does depend on where and what you study. But there are kind of two sections to it. There's the tuition fees. So that's how much you pay to the university for your learning, for being taught, for your seminars, for access to the resources, and for all that sort of stuff. That goes directly to the university. And that starts at, for undergraduate, that starts at like 9,000, I think it's now £9,250 and ranges upwards. So some courses are around 13,000, £14,000 a year, some are a little bit less, some are more. Maybe if students feel comfortable sharing with their experience as well, that'd be something they could do. But then on top of that, you need to show that you can support yourself while you're studying. So this is an amount you need to prove before. So it's 9 months. You just need to show that you have enough for 9 months. And that starts at, if you're inside London, it starts at £1,300 a month for the 9 months. So it works out about £12,000. Again, it might be a little bit abstract, all these numbers, and converting it to your own currency might be a bit difficult. So like I mentioned, book a session with us. We can kind of put that stuff in writing and make that very clear for you. But you just need to show you have this money in your account, for 30 days. And it's not blocked, so you can still access the money in the account, but it just can't drop below that level. And then you just need to have a bank statement and have it certified. And then that's the document that you need. I hope that makes things a little bit clearer for you, but do come and speak to us afterwards and we can kind of talk about specific examples, and depending if you want a master's or an undergraduate, it will vary slightly. Okay, great, thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions? Hisham, yes. Is there a program for learning English after Ramadan? Yes, absolutely, Hisham. Like, stay in contact with us, reach out directly on WhatsApp, and we're going to be running intensive IELTS courses if it's for IELTS, or if it's for general English, there'll be general English courses. Ottoman, you said you can't hear anything. I'm afraid I'm not sure I can do anything about that. I hope other people can hear me well.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, great. Could be that maybe you need to connect headphones or something like that in order to hear us. But if you do have a question, you can't hear me, but if you do have a question, put it in the chat. But does anyone else have any other questions? Check again on Facebook. No. No other questions. I mean, I feel like we've covered lots of things, and I don't need to keep anyone longer. So if no one has any other questions, then I think we will draw this very short little presentation to a close. So thank you for those of you that did join, and especially a big thank you to our students who came and shared their experience. I really appreciate you guys coming today. It's great to hear from you, and it's really good for prospective students to be able to talk to you guys and check some of their concerns with you guys and speak to you guys directly, because it's always better to hear from someone that's been through that same experience. So yes, I really appreciate that. So I'll give you one more chance. Does anyone have any other questions? Please do feel free to put them in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. Otherwise, I will say thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you guys have a lovely evening, and feel free to get in touch through any of our channels, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay. Great, thanks Jalal, thanks Samima for joining us, and thanks for you guys. Okay, sorry, besides studying, what are the things that you struggled with? Okay, besides studying, what were the other things? Maybe Jalal, maybe if you could talk a little bit on that. What were the things that you really struggled with outside of studying? So perhaps with integration, or perhaps with maybe meeting new people. Was there anything that was difficult with that?
I don't think I struggled I don't think I did.
No, that's good. That's a great thing. You don't have to.
Maybe it's gonna be different for someone else. I don't think I did.
Okay. Amima, how about, was there anything you found challenging?
Maybe finding a job, because I'm allowed to work just 10 hours per week, so it was difficult to find a job.
Only 10, not 20, because for me it's 20.
No, it's 10 hours because I have just 6 months, and I need to do another visa. So
yes,
because my foundation program is for 2 terms, so it's not long.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, that you guys have brought up. So there are different visas that you can come on depending on how long your stay is. So Umima is doing is it your pre-masters or your foundation? Yeah. Yeah, so pre-masters. So it's just like 2 terms. So it's a short-term visa, and then we'll do another visa for the masters. But on that short-term visa, international students are only entitled to work 10 hours, so it's even less. So of course, I can really relate to how that could be difficult. However, if you do get your BRP or full visa for the time you're studying, you'll then be able to work for 20 hours. So it's, it goes up a little bit. So it means you can have a bit more flexibility with your working hours. Okay, we have another question from Hisham. Studying in the UK is difficult or easy? I mean, I guess you've heard some of the things that were challenging. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, Jalal, like if you have anything to add to that.
It's not really difficult, but it's tiring. What we do exactly is doing a lot of research, literature reviews, research proposals, dissertation. So each module they
I don't know if it's my internet, but we seem to have lost you a little bit, Jalal.
No, we lost him too.
Okay, maybe you can, if you have anything to add about your experience of how hard it was to study in the UK.
Yes, like I said, it wasn't really difficult. I think the challenging thing is you need to do a lot of research if you are not used to do it. So it's really challenging. It's
yeah,
you
absolutely.
can say it's difficult, yes.
Yeah. No, like
I don't think it's really difficult.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like both of your answers summed it up really well. Is that there are things that you're going to find challenging, but some things maybe are, it's manageable, and hopefully you have the support. And that's a big one that I often encourage students, and especially international students, is, you are there, you're paying your fees, and your university is there to support you and to make sure they want you to do the best you can do. So really, like, if you have anything you're struggling with, go to your university.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, Jalal. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a really bad connection.
No problem. Did you want to carry on? Like you were saying, like, that there were some challenging things, but in general, like, as long as you keep on top of things, it seems to be all right. Yeah.
We do just some research, so we do a lot of reading, and we should reference our findings. So you should use what we call Harvard reference, and you can look about this. So you just show like a receipt, like if I'm gonna explain more simply, just some receipts where you got your information from. And yeah, it's just about researchers. So
absolutely, yeah. I remember that being a big thing, is referencing and making sure you're referencing as you go. That's what I learned at uni, is like, if you kind of leave your references to the last minute as you're doing an essay, then you're like, oh, where did I find this information?
Exactly.
At least making a note. Or there's lots of software that you can use to kind of help you to reference as you go. Like even Microsoft Word has inbuilt referencing tools, and you can just select Harvard as the one you want to use. And then there's also other referencing tools like Zotero that you can use if you're using for online references. Of course, it's lots of information at the time, but we do offer at Lille like some preparation courses as well before you go to university. If
I can say that the courses are simple. If you have a good English, you can understand everything. Like you can do everything on your own.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's really good to hear. Yeah, that's good to hear. Okay, so again, kind of last chance for any questions, if anyone has any questions for our students. If not, like I mentioned, please do come and see us either in person if you're in Agadir, or give us a call. All our information is on our social media channels or on our website, so you can just get in contact with us directly, book a free counselling session, speak to either myself or a colleague, and we'll do our best to find you a place to study. Okay. I think English is the one secret to success. I mean, Hisham, yes, absolutely. English it can be very useful, especially if you want to study in London. It's a kind of a definite. but like I mentioned, if you have that B1 level, even if you're kind of, lots of students go and they are a little bit shaky in their English, but also in that foundation year, that's the time to improve those skills, not just your study skills, but also your academic English skills will get better very quickly, especially if you're doing lots of reading. You'll be forced into interacting with people around you in English, and you'll be surprised at how quickly you will improve. So yeah. Okay, great. So thanks everyone for joining today, and I hope you found this useful. Amal, can I get the contact of Umayma or one of the students? I think that's probably up to them. I don't want to put any pressure on them to do that. So if they want to, perhaps.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to.
Okay, if you're happy to share, then that's completely fine. But you're absolutely under no obligation to share anything. So
I don't know where to share, but you can just add me on Facebook or Instagram. My name is Umayma Fouad. My last name is Fouad. So you can add me. I can see you. I'm happy to do this.
Okay, great. That's really nice of you. That's a very nice offer. Okay, great. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks, Umayma. Thanks, Shalal, and thanks, Benis. He's obviously got off his bus. Thanks for joining today, and thanks you guys for
having us.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah. So hopefully, see you all soon. And if you do book a counselling session, that'd be great. All right. Have a nice evening, guys.
Bye.
See you.